Okay, so I didn't have time to count, but we are actually live. Um, Hello, my dear fearless female founders. I'm doing two things at once. I'm checking whether we are online and also saying hello to you, and also welcoming
Actually live.
yes,
Hello, my dear viewers.
yeah, I can hear that we are live. I can hear that we are live. So, my dears, if you're watching us, please say hello. Please say hello to our guest, Tatiana Anufrieva. Do I pronounce it correctly?
Yes, absolutely.
That's great. So, Tatiana, we already had 5 minutes to talk before the interview, and I was already quite fascinated by the story of Tatiana. So, Tatiana will tell us today her entrepreneurial journey, and I would like actually to hear also not only entrepreneurial journey but where it all started, because it's a fascinating story. And yeah, we will see the story of Tatiana, of how she moved, how she shifted from the corporate to her own business, and particularly doing business in Belgium, because I suppose a lot of you who will be listening to us will be from Belgium, and Belgium is not an easy country to have business. So listen carefully, ask questions, and let's go. So, Tatiana, can you introduce yourself first? Who you are, what you do, what's your business?
Well, before I introduce myself, I just wanted to tell a few words why I decided to participate
Okay.
in this
Go ahead.
discussion. I found it very interesting, the project itself, and particularly I liked name Fearless Female Founders.
That's who you are. That's who you are.
And I thought that it could be good after my 1 year and a half of entrepreneurial experience, and also after a lot of and many years of corporate experience, to share my journey, and maybe it could be very useful for someone who is thinking to start that or who is already starting, because sometimes when you know the stories, you already know what maybe to expect. Although, be sure, this journey is always unexpected, but at least you will be aware that there is a lot of bumps on that road, but there is also a lot of nice moments. And this is exciting journey, and you are the only driver in there.
And that's what we want to know. That's what we want to know. And that's actually the reason why I hold these interviews, because we study a lot of different courses and like being overwhelmed by them, but actually course and theory is one thing, and practice is actually a completely different thing. And we
Absolutely.
want to know those bumps that you're talking about, because this is what we learn from, how to overcome them and what is the real life like. So,
Yes, and now to my introduction. I'm originally from Russia, and I have been living there many years and working for several international companies. I spent some time living in US and working in the headquarters of American company. I have been living past 3 years in Netherlands, in Amsterdam, and the last year I'm living in Belgium, in Antwerpen. I have this kind of international experience, and in my profession, I also had opportunity to learn not only business but a lot of cultures, because I was working in marketing and I learned a lot of consumers from different countries. And that's why I'm quite open to many cultures, to many people. And I learned through my life to like all the cultures and to find something very nice in each particular culture. So that's my background. And
yeah, so tell me, at what point of your corporate career you started thinking about your own business? And was it obvious straight away what you want to do, or it was really a journey of self-discovery? And how long was it, if it was like a journey of self-discovery?
you will be surprised, but I never was thinking about starting up my business.
No.
All my professional experience, I really enjoyed working in the companies I worked for. I really liked what I was doing. I really liked corporate life, and I did a very good career at the end. So I was managing a business of Benelux for big international companies. So I'm proud of that.
You should
But at the last year, actually, it was 2 years ago exactly, I started to feel that I started to enjoy my work less. And I started to feel like I have such a experience in my life, and I felt the need to start something on my own. And this
Mhm.
came quite suddenly, I don't know. And I started think what ideas could be for the startup. And
And at
then,
that point, sorry for interrupting, and at that point you were in the Netherlands, right?
yes, at that point I was in the Netherlands.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started to analyze myself, listen myself, what I like, what I would like. And I realized that there are a few things which always inspired me in my life and always were driving me. And I put them all together, and then the idea of happy pajama came to me.
Okay.
What are those things are? I liked
Yeah, can we
always.
clarify here? So, sorry, jumping in,
Yeah,
because
sorry,
I
sorry.
know that quite some women in our group are interested in how actually you find yourself and how do you find what you like. Did you do any special exercises, or you just, ask yourself a question, what do I enjoy doing, what I like, and it came naturally, the answer.
Yes, I started to listen to myself and more to my heart rather than to the brain. It took, of course, some time of this thinking, and I listening to my heart. I realized that the things which I like, they are in general. I always like people smiling. I always liked when people happy around.
Mhm.
And this is one thing. Another thing, I always admired art. I always admired fashion and design. Uh, and I thought, okay, how to combine that? I I do a bit of paintings myself as a hobby, but I'm not an artist. Uh, and then suddenly one day, doing shopping, by the way, very simple thing, I realized that fashion is so saturated. There are so much of different offers, but there is one niche in fashion, which is nightwear, sleepwear, or pajamas, which are still very boring, not much of offer, um, and not high quality things. And many manufacturers consider that category as probably last thing to do. And I thought, well, why not to make nice, high quality nightwear, which would make people happy? Because from my standpoint, it's very important when you are at home, when you go to bed, when you wake up, to have a nice mood. Not
Absolutely.
only to have a good quality textile, but also something that cheer you up, something what makes you smile. And if you start or finish the day with a smile, then maybe your day or night will be better.
Yeah, absolutely. I
So
totally agree.
these simple things came to my mind, and I came home, and I was so inspired, and I put the everything together, and immediately I invented the brand name, and I
Mhm.
started to work on that.
Okay, can I interrupt you here for a second, because this is an interesting thing that you have just described now, and I already can see a framework. And by the way, Tamara, hi, thanks for saying hello. And girls, whoever is watching for us, do ask questions. Do ask questions. So about, I want to summarize this part of kind of understanding what kind of business you would like to do. Is, as you said, uh, in thinking about the things that really make you happy, that you really enjoy doing, and maybe take it to the next step. So write them down, uh, and the first step is just to look at it, because they might look quite different. And actually, I'm so happy that you're talking about this approach now, which was natural to you, but it was similar to me as well when I was thinking about how I can inspire and make difference in women's lives. And then I loved traveling as well. I still love. I love traveling, and I love digital marketing. And those three things were like, they seem to be unmatchable in the
Mm-hmm.
beginning. So the first time when you look at it, it's like, yeah, those interests, they're so different. How do I put them together? But then when you put them on a piece of paper and you kind of ask the universe, okay, universe, what do I do with this? They kind of naturally come into one place. So what happened with Fearless Female Founders, I use my digital skills to build the community, to grow the community. Then I use my own drive, to make difference in women's lives through different things like this interview. And then traveling is actually retreats, like organized retreats for women. So like it all came together. So this is the framework, and yeah, just try and do it, girls, especially those of you who still didn't find their passion. And we are going back to Tatiana. So let's go further. You came back home, you were very inspired, then what happened next?
Yeah, I put again down my thoughts, my ideas, and I had such an inspiration that I decided, okay, I will do small steps forward and try to make it happen.
Yeah, and you were like full-time employed, right?
At that point, and actually maybe this was also the trigger, my contract in Netherlands was finishing, and I had to decide if either I go for further career opportunities, but at that moment I had already boyfriend living in Belgium, and my career opportunities were in US, and I had to make decision what do I want further. And at this moment, so I made the choice. I decided that I completely changed my life from really career oriented, really corporate life. I decided to jump in completely different life, to start up my business and also to be closer to my boyfriend.
Mhm.
This was absolutely new, of course, for me, not easy, I should tell you honestly. But anyway, I made that step.
Okay. And then what happened next? So you outlined some sort of business plan.
Yeah, I outlined business plan, and started to execute that.
And how did it look? How did it look? Was it like really professional business plan, or was like 2 pagers scribbled on piece of paper?
Yeah, it shouldn't be a very professional business plan. Although I did, of course, with all my experience, I put together my vision, my purpose, the brand description. I put all this together. I did even the financial analysis. I did P&L,
What is
putting
PNL?
numbers together.
What,
So
what is PNL?
my background allowed me to do that. Yeah, P&L. This is profit and loss analysis.
Okay. And,
Yeah, and
and in your business plan, when was your break even? Was it soon? Any soon?
well, I should tell you that business plan, and that's what I hear also from a lot of entrepreneurs. It never happens like what you draw in your business plan,
No,
at least
absolutely.
in the financials.
No,
So,
that's for sure. Yeah.
and my break even was supposed to be on the second year. Now my company is slightly less than 1 year. Uh, and this business plan is actually it's a framework which helps you first to put all your thoughts together. It helps you think more detailed about that. And also helps to make, I call it disaster check, to calculate if your idea is sustainable or not. But anyway, before you put this idea into practice, you will never check if this idea is sustainable or not.
And how were you checking if it is sustainable or not?
So I still check it.
Okay. But I mean, you cannot really see it in the business plan, right?
In the plan, you cannot check it. You
Mm.
can make estimations, of course, and you can draw whatever estimation. You can make even some consumer research, which I did some slight study of consumers, if they like the concept, what do they like, what price they would pay for that. This consumer research I did, but still it will not allow you to understand how much you are going to sell, how much you are going to need for advertising,
Yeah.
and etc. etc. These things you will learn only in practice. Of
Mhm.
course, you can try to dig this data, what I did, but then I realized that, okay, I did my numbers, they look nice, but before you try, before you go, you will never understand what is the reality.
Okay.
Yeah, so we learn as we go in
So you
business.
said, okay, that it's 1 year almost that you're building your business and you shifted from corporate to being an entrepreneur. And how do you supply yourself, let's say, financially speaking, and also your business because it requires money, of course.
I invest myself to my business,
So
so
you
I do
save
it from my personal savings.
savings, yeah.
I
Okay.
don't have at the moment any investor, but I'm already in the stage where I will need investments to increase the scale of my business.
Mm-hmm.
This is also one thing I learned when I started this journey, that it's better to start your business and not to get investments outside as long as possible. And
Or don't get investors at all if it is
yeah, or
possible.
don't get them at all, but at certain moment when you scale it, you want to scale it up, it becomes difficult, of course.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not that rich. So, but so far, I learned that also, that when you want to attract and invite investors, you also need to show already some sustainable results. And that's what I'm working on right now. So I invested my money and I'm building my brand to see the sustainable results so that in the future, near future, I hope I can come to investors and to attract more money for scale.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, girls, if you have any questions, please.
I stopped hearing you. Sorry, Anna.
Hello, can you hear me?
Well, something happened.
No? Hello, hello? Disconnect. Can you hear me like this now?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes? I
Yes.
can't hear you. That's strange.
Can you hear me now?
What should we do?
No,
Should
nothing?
we disconnect or?
I will disconnect then. I will try
Let me
to.
check.
Okay, let me.
And now, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you well. Can you hear me? Can you? Hello, can you hear me?
Hello?
Hello? Nothing? Okay, we will wait for Tatiana to join. Some technical issues. My microphone is working. Okay.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Oh, now I can hear you. Sorry.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, that's great. Okay, perfect. So, ladies, if you have any questions, please do ask. And we will scroll a little bit back in the story. So, once you decided to go for this business, you made the business plan. What happened next? But by the way, yeah, maybe to clarify a little bit about Happy Pajamas. So, basically, you went for a business where you produce pajamas that make people happy. So,
Yes.
how did the process go about choosing fabric? Where do you produce actually your pajamas? How you were searching for suppliers, and all those technical, logistical things.
Yes, as I said, the brand name immediately came to my mind, Happy Pajama, and then the rest was I had to create the product itself. I found a couple of nice artists who create very nice prints for me, and then I started to search for the suppliers. From the very beginning, when I thought about concept of Happy Pajama, I thought that I want my product to make smile not only people, to be good not only for your skin and for your mood, but also to be good for the planet. So, and I said that I want my product to be done from organic cotton. It should be 100% organic cotton. I should have recyclable packaging, no plastic. And keeping that in mind, I started to look for suppliers. And I realized that the best country which offer quite a lot of good manufacturers who could do that is Portugal.
I've heard about it, not for the first time. It's crazy. Portugal is really booming in that sense.
Yeah, and I went there. I visited several suppliers, and
How did you find them?
well, my boyfriend helped me.
Okay. That's what
here,
organs are for.
because originally he's Portuguese,
Oh, okay.
and he helped me to find few manufacturers. I arranged the meetings with them, and I went there.
Okay.
I met few of them. Of course, I looked at the facilities. I looked at the prices they offered, at the services, and I choose the supplier, which I still like very much. I think it was a good choice. Although sometimes I think, wow, it's a bit expensive. The cost is very high. But then when I see how people look and touch my pajamas and say, wow, it's such a good quality, so soft, I feel better because I pay a lot for that, but it is the quality, and at least this
And
is.
if it's not a secret, what is the margin?
Well, I prefer not to tell that.
Okay. Fair.
Also, it depends on shipping costs, where I ship, so it's a bit variable at the moment.
We will come back in a minute to the manufacturing process, but I see a question from Tamara. So let's have a look at it. What was your biggest fear once you started your own business, and how did you cope with it?
To tell you the truth, I had several sleepless nights before I made the final decision to go for that. The biggest fear is, how can I risk with my own money? You know, when you get used to work for the corporation, you never think about money. You just get salary month by month, and you can risk a lot of budgets making big campaigns and there and there. But this is not your money. But when you start yourself, this is a very interesting point. Then you realize that you don't have salary anymore. You have your savings, which you have to invest. And what if it doesn't work? So I think this was the biggest fear for me. And I had to live with that, I think, even few weeks. And like I had back and forth, back and forth. Should I do? Shouldn't I? Like, and I'm trying to remember what made me kind of make that step forward when I decided, no, I do that. This moment came suddenly, and I said, okay, stop doubting. If you don't try now, you will never try, and you will never know if it works or not.
Mm-hmm. And then in the worst case scenario, you can always come back to corporate.
Yeah, that's I thought as well. And I said also to myself, okay, I have to invest that money, which I will not feel so bad to lose. Okay, I should be ready. Maybe it will not work and I lose some money. So that's why you should prepare yourself that even if it doesn't work, so it will not be a end of the world.
Mm-hmm.
So first, you don't risk all your last money. You shouldn't risk, actually. I don't recommend that.
Mm-hmm.
Then second, you will.
Oops, we lost Tatiana again. But while she's joining back to us, I will share with you actually the success formula, which comes from, I forgot the name, Ecker, Harf Ecker. Yeah, it comes from Harf Ecker. And the formula of sorry, Tatiana, we lost you in a little bit, so I started a little. I want to share with ladies the formula of success from Harf Eker, which is so simple. but it struck me so much that I don't want to keep it to myself. So the formula is super simple. Try, fail, try again, fail, try
Mm.
again, fail, try again until you succeed.
Mhm.
This is how it works. And yeah, I myself had a lot of failures on my way. I also like lost a lot of money building my businesses, but I just know that I will not stop until I succeed. And it doesn't matter what is happening on the way. You know, coming back to corporate temporarily is a solution, but I just know what drives me. I know what my mission is, and I will just not settle down until I reach my goal. And this is what you should do as well. And this is the success formula.
Very nice formula. Totally agree. And then I believe also that persistence pays.
It does, it does. And, we always think it's like, okay, I am going to build this business and I'm so scared. What if I fail? But most probably you will fail, and this is how it works. You're learning along the way, and a lot of things are new to you, and you will not know how to do certain things, and there will be a lot of bumps and unexpected bumps. And it's just a normal thing that happens in people's lives. I mean, if you read the biographies of very successful people like Richard Branson or
Mhm.
Elon Musk, oh my God, like Elon Musk had to overcome so many obstacles to arrive to where he is now. Like Tesla is finally starting booming, but no one wanted to look at it several years ago. Like no one wanted to invest into it. So the persistence and acceptance kind of that there will be failures on the way.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. So that's why at a certain moment when I accepted that I can fail,
Mhm.
then I was brave to go to that
Mhm.
journey. Yeah, you're right.
But let's come back to the manufacturing process because it's quite interesting to me. By the way, we interviewed a girl some time ago who was producing comfortable dresses for women, and she went through a very similar process. So she also went, I think, to Portugal, and she was producing her dresses there in Portugal. So just to understand better, like the whole process. So you make it. By the way, do you make the design of pajamas yourself, or you have?
Yeah, yes, I did.
So you do the design. You basically draw it, right?
Yeah, I draw that, and also I kind of realize you cannot imagine how many pajamas I bought, how many things I bought to understand what is good, because I wanted to create a very comfortable fit, and I had to try a lot of products to understand what is good, and I learned from some different products, and then realize what is working well, and based on that, I created my own designs and shapes.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I found the manufacturer, they already did the sample based on my descriptions, based on all detailed um, descriptions I gave to them. They made the sample.
So you didn't need to provide something like exact, like, do you remember Burda Moda, where, you have
Yeah, layout.
where
Yeah.
everything is super precise?
Yeah, I actually did that with the fashion constructor who did that layout for me.
Oh, nice.
But then I realized with manufacturer that they work on their own layout, so it's easier to do the layout already when you know your manufacturer. But
You
if
made
you
it with
can do it
manufacturer.
yourself, so you can of course do that. But this was
So it's better
my
to do
way.
it with manufacturer directly. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay, that's interesting. Okay, so they did some samples for you, You looked at them and you said, yeah, they look nice. Let's start the production.
Yes, of course, we had to make some adjustments to bring to that shape which we have now. One of the difficulty also was that in my idea, being sustainable, eco-friendly brand, I decided that my pajamas should be uh, unisex. And this is not only overall trend in fashion, which exists, of course, unisex trend, but it also eco-friendly because you don't need to produce separate product for men and women. You have less remaining stock than you can destroy, or it's in terms of manufacturing also more economical. And
Yeah,
but this is difficult because you have to make it fitting nice for both men and women. And when at the beginning I gave this task to the fashion constructor, she said me, "You are crazy. It doesn't. It's not possible." But then it became possible. And you can check on the websites. The girls and boys look same nice and sexy in unisex pajamas.
I have seen the images, the pictures from your page or Instagram, and I saw man and woman in the same pajama. So
Yeah.
it's like the family pajama thing, and the kids as well. Super nice, also kind of a family thing. And where did you find the fabrics in the end?
Um, I worked with manufacturer as well. They gave me the variety of the fabrics.
Oh, they have
And
already. Okay,
yeah,
you just go
and
to Portugal and they do everything for you.
and then I had to. They also sent me samples, and I had to choose. Of course, this is all in white,
Mhm.
without prints, and I have chosen the thickness, the quality of organic cotton,
Mhm.
and choosing that, then we started to work on the prints.
Mhm.
And I had to go to Portugal also to see the colors, how it's printed, because one thing is when you have design in the computer, but when you start to print on the textile, the colors can look differently. And I had to go to be sure that we have exactly the colors I wanted. They had to be uh, nice, not too bright, not too pale, to have a right feeling, joyful feeling, a smiling feeling, and cozy feeling.
Yeah. And was it the same manufacturer again doing that as well, doing prints?
Uh, yes, the same manufacturer also make prints on my pajamas.
Like
Yeah.
all in one. All in one solution. So good. And do they also ship?
No, they shipped only to my warehouse in Portugal.
Oh, okay. Okay, this is the next step then. So you had to find the warehouse. And I know that, for example, in Belgium, I've heard so. I don't know if it's true that finding a warehouse is close to impossible. Um, so you asked them to ship it in the warehouse in Portugal, but not in Belgium. Why is it so?
Um, Actually, I don't have business in Belgium. When I was making decision where to open my company, I analyzed several countries where to set up my company, where to register it. I had several list of countries, and analyzing Belgium, I came to the conclusion that it's not easy country to run the business
Mm-hmm.
because of the taxes, because of some other things, some other
You tell me.
legislation complications, and my choice was Portugal. And I set up a company in Portugal. So I have a warehouse in Portugal, and I ship to my consumers or to the shops in Belgium and Netherlands from my warehouse in
Okay,
Portugal.
can I ask you in here, because this part is very, very interesting, and I know it's very interesting for women who are listening to us, because this is a very complex question in Belgium about taxes, and I know a lot of people are not happy and confused about how to have your business in Belgium. And I was also kind of looking at possibilities of registering myself elsewhere. But from what I understood, if I want to register yourself somewhere, you have to be a resident in that country. So in your case, how does it work?
In several countries in Europe, you don't need to be a resident, and Portugal is one of these countries.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, wow, that's amazing. So did you find an accountant there who helped you with that?
Yes, I found accountant. It's a accounting company. She provides the services for several companies, and I have accounting there. I have two employees in Portugal.
What is in place?
Two employees
I,
in Portugal, and at the moment we are very small, but we do a lot of things.
Yeah, which is fine, and because our group is about solo entrepreneurs, it's about small to medium businesses. So this information that you're sharing with us now, I think, is extremely valuable, because there is a lot of frustration going on in our group and in general about being an entrepreneur in Belgium. And what are the taxes in Portugal?
Well, there are different schemes.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, I don't remember by heart. When I did this analysis, of course, I compared
Mm-hmm.
all that, because there is a different types of taxes. You can have an income tax for your profit. You can have also the social security tax.
Yeah,
So there are several, and
yeah. So you need
yeah,
to go actually to accountant to really
yeah.
understand that. And what would you recommend though? So women who are listening to us, if they would decide, let's say, to register their business in Portugal, what would you recommend them to do? What would be the first step?
Well, I would recommend to look if this will be possible working model to do the business in other country, because in many countries you have to have in place in the place where your company is registered. So if you can work like that, so then it be probably working. So you should analyze, apart from taxes, apart from like also like if this business model will work for you, for your type of business, having in place another place, yourself in the third place, or maybe you decide to move to Portugal to live, so why not?
Mhm.
These things I think you should analyze.
But
But talking about Portugal in particular, it is not the best country in terms of taxes. For example, Netherlands is much better.
okay.
But in Netherlands, I had limitations of, at that moment, I moved already to Belgium, and I was already not a resident of Netherlands.
Yeah, so
And
you need to be ready.
they also required being a resident. So that's didn't work for me.
Okay, but understand all those details. I don't know. Should you find an accountant, or is just like Googling it?
Of course, the best thing is to find people who can advise. For example, in Netherlands, they have a very good website where a lot of things described and you can find online. In Portugal, because it's all in Portuguese and I don't speak Portuguese, it was difficult. I hired a consultant who
Here we go. Here we go. This is what I was searching for. So
yeah,
you have hired a consultant.
explain that. Yeah,
And
the
what did
best thing
you?
to ask a specialist who could really advise.
Okay, so you found that person through your, like your boyfriend probably helped you to find it.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, like just being non-Portuguese, let's say I go online tomorrow and I'm trying to find a consultant to help me with that. What should I search? Like a company registration, consultant Portugal?
Yes, to register company in Portugal.
Ah,
How I can register a company in Portugal? Um, yeah, something like that, and you will have the list of who can help with that.
mm-hmm. Okay, this is clear. This was really interesting. I don't know whoever is watching for us. I hope it was interesting for you. Do shoot the questions, girls. Ask the questions, because after the interview is finished, yeah, that will not be possible. So please shoot. Tatiana, so is there anything else you would like to share about your journey to kind of help other women to, finally do that step towards who they really are, towards their dreams?
What I wanted to share is that we shouldn't be afraid of also the bad moments in when we start up the business, because at the beginning we're inspired and we think everything will be very smooth and nice, but in fact there is a lot of moments when difficult moments, but you shouldn't be afraid of them. You should face them. You should try to solve that difficulties. For example, when you start up, of course, you will have to learn a lot of things. Don't be afraid to learn. Don't be afraid to ask. Ask different people. Ask internet. This really will help. And also in these moments, very important to have close friends or family who can support you at that moment, because moments, they will happen, of course. This is one thing to advise. So as I said, don't be afraid to ask. For me, it was a bit difficult at the beginning because I used to do something on my own and but I realized that when you do your business, especially if you're alone without partner, you cannot avoid asking for help, asking for help from people, and ask them to ask other people. So this is absolutely a normal thing. Another thing is, I read also some books when I started, and they said you start up, you will start to sell, but then in a certain moments you will have a moment when suddenly there is no sales, and you will start to panic. And it was so funny to see that in reality, because I had that moment exactly how it was described. And at this moment, you should understand that this is a normal part of the business. You shouldn't panic. You shouldn't give up at that moment. You just need to keep the cold mind and analyze what can be done differently, what is working, what is not working, what should be done differently, where I can improve, what else I can try. And with these simple questions and answers to yourself, to keep going step by step, step by step, and then it will help you to get out of that, how would you say in English?
A block, let's say.
Yeah, to come out of that block. But normal reaction is a panic, of course. So please don't panic.
Mm-hmm. Just find the way to.
Yeah,
By the
yeah.
way, yeah, when you produced, let's say, your first pieces, how have you started selling them?
I started selling in my web shop. I created web shop, and
Mm-hmm.
most of my sales are going online. So my business is quite digital.
Mm-hmm.
And my first sales were online as well.
Okay, so you don't sell through like big stores or like marketplaces.
I sell in physical stores as well, not my own brands, but some stores, multi-branded stores.
Yeah. And how did you start selling to them? Did you reach out to them by phone, by email? You went physically there?
Uh, in different ways, but mostly it works physically better still,
Mm-hmm.
especially when you offer such product like, which is quite new concept. When you say at the beginning, pajama, unisex, like, so people are quite skeptical.
Yeah.
And as I said, for many shops, pajama is not the main category. It's the last thing they're thinking about. But I approached Bancorp, and so we had a very good discussion. And I even was invited for the meeting to El Corte Inglés in, you know, the Spanish department
Yeah.
stores, the
Oh yeah,
big
yeah,
chain.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I went to the meeting. They invited. We didn't agree on anything because they said, you know, we like your product very much, but we are still not ready for unisex concept, because we have one floor for women, one floor for men. We don't know how to. I said, no problem. You will sell 4 designs in women, in
Exactly.
4 in the men. But they said, still, we are a very conservative organization. We will look at you and let's get in touch in 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
So this was a conversation, but I was happy anyway because they noticed, and they wanted to meet. And as I heard, it's very difficult to get a meeting with them. And some small shops, another opportunity when you come to them and also explain. But what I realize is that it always works better when you show the product and when you personally present, because I sent many emails to many different shops. Some of them never responded. Some of them, without seeing the product, immediately rejected. But when you come after rejection and show, then you can change opinion. So still physical presence
But
works,
you said when
but
you
at the
okay.
same time, for the end consumer,
Mm-hmm.
um,
We got frozen.
hello,
Hello. Yeah, you're back. You were saying that for the end consumer.
for the end for the end consumer. Oops, just a second. Why it is?
Yeah. We lost Tatiana again. Let's wait a little bit. Girls, if you have any questions, do ask. Because we are approaching really the end. There are literally 5 minutes left. I'm always fascinated how fast time flies when you're having fun.
That's strange that
Hello?
the connection is not working well. Now you can hear?
Yeah, I can hear.
Sorry.
Yeah, so yeah, you were saying that there was first rejection when you were trying to contact them online, but then you said, okay, when you come to a physical store, and this is the part that I didn't understand. So after they have rejected you, do you still come to the store and you ask for a manager?
Yeah, you still can come, and this is how sales is
Yeah.
working. So you can approach several times and still try to make a physical meeting. Yes, I have an example where I received by email refusal, but then I just showed up in the shop with the samples, and I said, okay, that's we
And
communicated.
who do you usually see? Who are those? What job title those people have who make that decision?
If it is a small shop, there is normally the manager of the shop or the owner of the shop. And if I come, I say, can I speak to the person who is responsible for the buying in your shop?
Yeah.
And they tell to me. Anyway, if I don't have this person, I try to get out of my visits something good. I talk to employees, I show them the samples, and for example, when they like, this is how I got the contact of a Bienkorf buyer, for example, which is also not very easy to do. I came to the Bienkorf, showed them the product to the people who work in the floor in the shop, and said, "What do you think?" They started to discuss. They really liked. We had a very good discussion, and they said, "Oh, we give contacts of our manager who is making buying. They gave me contacts, and this is how I got that." So you need to speak, but also you get the feedback from people. They tell you what they like, what
People have.
dislike. It's always very helpful to understand what people think about your product.
And those and the shops, they charge the fee for having your product in that shop.
No, they you sell them at the price so that they would have a margin
Okay.
between the consumer price and what price you sell to them.
Okay. So it's not like, yeah, it's not like you give it to them, they sell it, and then you get the profit. They actually buy it straight away from you.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. Okay, so Tatiana, I don't know if you realized, but 1 hour has already passed. I told you that the time is going to fly really, really fast. So I will ask you the last question because you mentioned that you were reading books when you were starting your business. So maybe if you remember the most impactful book or books that you would like to share with us, that would be really great.
I like the book of Richard Branson, of course. You mentioned that.
Losing Your Virginity?
Yes. Another book I read which helped me, I don't remember the name, but you know, definitely brand Toms. It's shoes, textile shoes.
Mhm.
And this book is written by the guy who established this brand.
What's the
Who
title of it? Do you remember?
I don't
You
remember.
don't remember. Okay, when you remember it,
Yeah,
you can share it in the comments so we
yeah.
can have a look at it.
Uh, but if you Google that, Tom's owner book,
Mm-hmm.
you will probably find that. This book is written in a very simple language, and it was a young guy. He just also, like, the idea came to his mind, a bit similar like mine after traveling to Argentina, and how he made it true. So in simple language, with the simple uh, problems he faced and how he solved them. I like that book, and I think I learned a lot from that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I've noticed as well that you learn really a lot from real stories. You try
Exactly.
to understand how not that simple things are when you see them like on social networks sometimes, like start your business, earn your first million in 3 months, things like this. Just doesn't work that way. Okay, Tatiana, thank you so much for your time and for sharing your story. It was really, really interesting. So I really appreciate you have found time for us, and I wish you a lot of luck with your business,
Thank
with your
you.
friends, and I hope to see you more in our group.
Thank you for inviting. Thank you for this initiative, and I hope it was helpful for audience.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you very much, and you have a great
Bye.
evening. Bye, 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 everyone.